Hello dear viewer. Hello, good morning, good day, good afternoon, good evening, whoever and wherever you are, hello to you in fact. Have you ever found yourself down the back streets of what is YouTube's Shorts section? Now there's a lot of channels out there, this goes for a lot of things. There's a lot of channels out there which provide some decent content, some lovely content. Cooking channels, a bit of this, a bit of that, if you want to, you know, spice up a meal or you want some inspiration to paint even, it's all on there. I've recently come across a particular channel. Now I won't provide any names or anything like that, but it does a few videos here and there, and that's fine. But it's his cheap versus expensive stuff, and I've parodied it here. Let's test cheap versus expensive riding gloves. And expensive wins, very cool, brum brum. Now you may have a few questions for UncleRed, and oh boy, good viewer, I have some answers. Now, most of the questions will probably revolve around how, in any kind of way, is that an informative test? I'm glad you asked. For example, what brands am I using? It's not hard to tell. You know, what's the quality of the gloves? How much separates the two in expense? How cheap is one? How expensive is the other? What even is the test? Is it cold outside? Are you just testing for how they handle with the motorcycle? Because that's incredibly subjective. Are you handling the bike in the same way? Yes, so the stuff I've been seeing, a lot of this cheap versus expensive stuff, it is literal spam, and I think, you know, this isn't an attempt to call it out or whatever, or make people aware of it, it's just one of those observations. Now, again, I can take this sort of thing and relate it to motorcycling, as I've just shown. However, what does that show you? What does that, apart from a complete ineptitude of actually testing something in any way scientifically, what does it show you? Nothing. Nothing. Cheap versus expensive gloves. Yeah, they are cheap versus expensive. And do you know why? When I go onto the comment sections of these videos, and I've left a comment once or twice, as is to what the reasoning is, or the criteria for one being better than the other. There's no explanation given. The descriptions are empty. People just don't have a clue, and I truly wonder if people just completely lack any kind of critical judgment. I don't know if this is a new generation thing, or if some people are just this bloody stupid. The main reason, this is going to be an incredible rant, bloody hell. The main reason I see people defending these spam videos is, well, of course one's cheap, one's expensive. What did you expect? So, okay. The reason why, in my case, one was cheap is because they're not suitable for riding. Do I know how to use them? Yes. Not for riding. These gloves are designed for riding, and I know this because they are from a motorcycling brand company, and they do their research and development, and they produce, hopefully, motorcycle gloves that will stand up to me falling off this bike. The little woolly gloves aren't going to do that, are they? That stuff, if it's got any nylon in it, I've heard that stuff basically burns and shreds gets into all your skin and bits and bobs and lovely bubblies. I'm just going to go around here, lovely. And so, the main defence I see is, of course one's cheap, of course one's expensive. Okay. Do you have any fucking idea how sad that kind of defence is? Do you have any idea how little that helps, or how little that goes to show for your own thought when you make that comment? That sounds like I listen to myself saying it with such vehemency, but yeah, it does sound rather nasty of me. However, we are at an unfortunate impasse, especially with modern media, where we have to take a sit back and we have to think upon things. Was that movie really good? Was that TV series any good? I can piss off Rhythmic by simply questioning his idea of what Star Wars is. Sorry, I won't dive into that. But yeah, we have to seriously sit back and wonder if there is some sort of separate agenda going on. And I'm not going to get into the politics of everything. I'm not going to get into everything that goes on there, because there are people out there on the YouTube who can do a much better job at critiquing stuff and reviewing stuff. One reason I don't review Jelly Bean or any of the equipment I've got is simply because I do not have, in my mind, a decent enough idea of how to script a video of that kind of magnitude and provide that much of an in-depth evaluation. I've been riding for, you know, best part of, what, 7 or 8 years now, and yeah, I don't want that inexperience to get in the way of people who are looking for a genuinely good review, a detailed review, because I just don't believe I can provide that. Anyway, small tangent aside, your main arguments are shit, alright? Now, when I've seen this cheap versus expensive thing, the one that actually sparked my creative juices for this, if you could even call it that, because there was basically no thought in it at all, was he had 2 separate pairs of like medical gloves. That's the best way I can describe them. And he's got 2 strips of sandpaper, and he rubs his finger of each hand down each strip of sandpaper at the same time. And it's the same sort of idea. Let's test cheap versus expensive gloves. Okay. Now someone kindly in the comments points out those are 2 completely different types of gloves, as was in my parody. Hooray! And someone bites back with, well, yeah, that's why they're cheap versus expensive. No. Certain gloves do certain things, and they are suitable for certain tasks. Now, let me switch you over to another video of his. He takes 2 irons, a cheap and expensive iron, and he's got 2 chocolate teddy bears. He uses the irons to melt the teddy bears. Okay? I can think of a better test for an iron, you know, like, let's iron a fucking shirt! But that's fine. You want to melt teddy bears with irons? That's fine. I left a little comment on there saying pretty much that. So why don't you learn how to use the equipment that you're attempting to, you know, tell us what's good and bad or what's better, and learn to iron a shirt? Maybe that's not something you've done in your life, or maybe that's something you could, you know, learn and improve on, or, you know, maybe that process of you learning how to iron something, if there is, you know, a extremely decent way to do it, and I'm pretty sure there is, maybe you learning how to iron that shirt is going to teach you more about the irons and what's more, you know, appreciative in your case. And that again is kind of subjective, because like, oh, I appreciate an iron which gives off good steam, or I appreciate an iron that gives off a decent bit of heat, or it's entirely, you know, sure. But to melt teddy bears, chocolate teddy bears, come on. What made this person think this was a good idea at all? And again, my questions are both irons at their highest temperature? Are their highest temperatures different? How long did each iron have to warm up? What's the grade of the chocolate? Does it contain palm oil? Because apparently that melts faster. What's the branding of the irons? What's, you know, you're basically handling both irons, one in each hand. Are you applying equal pressure in both hands? We are humans. We are not computers. So the very idea, the very notion that you could properly apply absolute pressure with both hands is absolute nonsense. You'd have to get a contraption to do that for you, and so on and so forth. Hi, I'm UncleRed. I make motorcycle videos. How you doing? I truly do question people's ability to stay stuck to something, because I think TikTok is about the most, how do I put this? There are some great creators on TikTok, I will not deny them this. However, once upon a time UncleRed created an account on TikTok. Once upon a time UncleRed very quickly stopped using TikTok, because the moment you open that app, you are immediately thrown into, like I said, the YouTube Shorts thing, where it's just like, here's a random video of some half attractive bird dancing. It's like, okay, fine, but I don't want to see this. And no matter how many times I go for, like Instagram for example, no matter how many times I go down my newsfeed, there's going to be some half naked person over something or around something or something like this or that or the other, and it's just like, cool, that's fine. You feel comfortable doing what you do, brilliant. That this content is just spammed, literally spammed on the internet, and people will just absorb it, they'll gobble it up, and there's, yeah, that's brilliant, that's great. Oh. If there's anything to take away from this video, apart from me being a very angry little man, it is, be at least a little bit more critical of what it is that you're absorbing. If you want to kill 10, 15, 20 minutes or even an hour, that's absolutely fine. You know, you don't have to take my advice or what I say to heart. It's just, I think there's a lot more, there are many better things, I'm trying to construct a sentence here, there are many other things which can be a far better use of our time than being spammed with these bloody videos. But unfortunately, as has been proven, there is a market for it. And as I've seen, unfortunately, there is a section of this market who just lack any kind of thought or imagination. Bit sad really, isn't it?